On top of that, labor and industry, the workman's compensation is going up, I believe it was 2%. On top of being a state program, one of the few in the country, we actually have to pay the state as opposed to a private situation where there is competition, and it's 3 times higher than it is in Oregon. So it's something, doing business, it was rough last year, and it's going to get rougher. So do I raise my prices? I can't. We hire only local kids, and Washougal and Cam is here. I've always done that, and that's what I will continue to do. So I don't know, whatever we can do to Olympia, let them know that, it's hard to do business, but when they make it a lot harder, is that it's going to be tougher. And then finally, I don't know if we can put this in the minutes, but Sean, I like your beard. I think you look good in it. So you can't put that in? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mitch. Any other members of the public wishing to address council? Yes.
Hello, I'm Diana Alderman, West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. I'm going to make this real quick. As you all know, I'm not a very good public speaker. I just wanted to let you know that as I was cutting through campus today, I'm an advisor at Clark College, and I went a direction that I rarely ever go, and right in the middle of the hall was a group of 25 students around a bulletin board, and 2 students were giving a presentation on their community service project. And I looked at the board and it said West Columbia Gorge Humane Society. So they were influencing 25 more people, and they were talking about the dog shelter and the dogs. So I just wanted to point that out. And worst case scenario, if we lose the funding for the dog shelter, we realize that we're probably in danger of losing the dog shelter, the dog building, which means that we will no longer have dogs. And so then it becomes a cat shelter next to a dog pound again, rather than a cat shelter next to a dog shelter. And I just want to ask that we work together to come up with sustainable funding for dog shelter services, and if we could get help championing our fundraising events that we do have. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Okay, seeing none, before we move along, before we lose any of the crowd, Trevor, do you want to give a quick update on Highway 14 from the meeting that you had with Department of Transportation?
Thank you, Mayor Guard, council members. I did meet with DOT staff today. It was in regards to the concurrence letter that they were seeking from the city of Washougal in regards to the SR 14 Phase 1 project. Currently, they're at 100% design. They're anticipating receiving or securing their right-of-way certification within the next 4 to 6 weeks and have the project advertised by mid-January, late January, and anticipate a contractor mobilizing and being on site early spring. At this point, they have secured permits for their in-water work, which is the mouth of the Washougal River, the East Slough Bridge. They're building an additional bridge next to the existing. Also doing a retrofit on the High Bridge, which is the West Slough Bridge. Doing a center median down the middle with some minor ped improvements on the edge. So they're still moving forward with that. That was most of the conversation today. There was a few minor concerns that staff had on the concurrence letter. Potential impact to 6th and C Street, with 6th Street being closed, potentially reconfiguring that, changing the radiuses, reconfiguration of stop signs with no controlled left turns on eastbound SR 14 north on 6th Street, which gets quite a bit of traffic. And with the design that is proposed to be closed.
So, Trevor, from your discussions with them, they've got everything that they need at this point to proceed as far as approvals from the city, non-approvals from the city, comment period, that type of stuff?
Right. I asked them if the concurrence letter wasn't signed by the city, if it wasn't approved by council and wasn't able to be executed by the mayor, what type of impact that would be to them. They would like to have the concurrence letter, but ultimately if they don't receive that, they're still able to move forward with the project. have the ability to within their right-of-way.
Okay. John?
Is there any chance of getting someone that's working on that project at our next workshop?
Yes, I can check with Bart Gernhardt or Chris Thames. I believe those were the two DOT staffers that came out in late August, early September to go over the Phase 1 design.
Okay. I think that'd be real beneficial, especially in light of some of the new information that has come up, at least to me, in regards to really needing to see if there's any wiggle room at all in the plans to help the business owners.
Do you have any, my indication from them is they're done designing.
They are 100% design. There is willingness, and that was communicated today by DOT staff to come out to workshop if needed for further clarification on the design portion.
That would be great. Thank you.
Dave? Dave?
Trevor, what's the impact of putting a portion of this project back in design? For example, to put an off-ramp at Second Street going eastbound. What would be the impact of that on funding, project timelines? Would we lose the money? Would we lose the project?
I don't want to speculate on behalf of Department of Transportation. With a proposed or an addition of an off-ramp at Second Street to Second Street on the south side, there would be considerable elevation issues. They're raising the highway 16 to 20 feet in that stretch from existing grade. So getting off the highway down to that intersection is not feasible with their current design. It's a frontage road roundabout at Second Street that's fed from Union Street on the south side for access into Second Street. And as far as permitting goes, the in-water work, which is permitted by Ecology and Fish and Wildlife, they're permitted right now July 1, 2011 at the mouth of the Washougal on the East Bridge until the end of September. So that's very time sensitive to get this out to bid.
Other questions from council? Trevor, if you could, as you contact them for workshops, certainly give them a heads up on what some of the questions are in regards to off-ramps and that type of thing, so they can be prepared to answer questions or have information available.
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to the consent agenda this evening. One item that I have been asked by the city attorney to pull is item number 11, Agenda Bill 179-10, a correction of the bi-monthly rate table for ordinance 1678. In regards to stormwater, that'll go into the regular agenda. Do we have any other items on consent? John?
I'd like to pull number 12 into new business.
Okay. Other items? What would council's pleasure be with the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that we approve the consent agenda consisting of item 1, council minutes, November 15th, item 2, workshop minutes, November 29th, regular AP claims of $481,040.82, Agenda Bill 17210, professional services agreement with Wallace Engineering for general engineering services, Agenda Bill 17310 for 2011 training contract with Northwest